Look, I just going to be honest. I mean, everybody comes on the air and says all this great stuff, but behind the scenes, it's full-scale panic. People are passing around legal memos, PDFs are flying back and forth on WhatsApp, trying to figure out what are the options, how can you replace Biden, how do you get him to do it in a way where he feels respected as he should be respected, who should Kamala Harris's vice president be. The conversation on air and the conversation off air are completely different. And so it's the same thing you saw with the Trump situation, where people would come on air and defend Trump, and then you talk to people, and then we got a crazy candidate. We don't have a crazy candidate. We have a great candidate. We have a beautiful man. We have someone who loves this country. We have someone who has given his all. I mean, his all to the last drop for this country. But he may not be able to get across the finish line. And a mature party has to take that into account. And that is what's happening. And so, look, I understand people want to, defend him and protect him and give him the space and the dignity to make his own choice. But there is a big conversation happening right now about how this happens, not whether.
All right, guys, so Joy Reid is having a mental breakdown because she does not like the fact that Democrats continue to text her about replacing Joe Biden. Okay, there's a slow-moving coup happening in the Democrat Party against Joe Biden behind closed doors, allegedly, because you have people like, for example, James Carville coming out and advocating for Democrat donors to stop funding Joe Biden's campaign in order to force him out of the race. You also have Democrats who come out in public and say that everything's fine, everything's great. Okay, we're not worried about Joe. But again, behind closed doors, they're telling everybody that, yeah, this guy is cooked. Okay, he's done. And again, Joy Reid is receiving a lot of these text messages, and she doesn't really want any part of it, right? She's in very uncomfortable territory as a so-called journalist because she doesn't want to do her job and to cover what is happening with Joe Biden. This is the most important story of 2024. The fact that the president of the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world, does not have the mental capacity to be president of the United States. His mental fitness is being questioned by the media and his own party, and Joy Reid doesn't want to talk about it, right? She doesn't want to talk about it. It's scary to her because she is concerned about all these conversations about Joe Biden hurting Joe Biden and helping Trump, right? So again, she doesn't want to do her job as a journalist, okay, because she's not really a journalist. She's a propagandist, so she really wants to turn the page, okay? And she's really mad and she's really upset with all these Democrats panicking in the mainstream liberal media, continuing to cover the Democrat Party civil war that's happening behind the scenes, which again tells you everything you need to know, okay? When the media actually covers Joe Biden fairly, right? Look at his poll numbers. They are now in free fall because again, the media is telling the truth about the Biden administration, which again is something that Joy Reid is very, very, very uncomfortable with. This is uncomfortable territory for her because now nobody cares about hearing your Trump derangement 24/7, right? Nobody wants to hear that anymore. Everybody is paying attention to Biden like they should have been doing for the past 4 years. And again, she really doesn't like that, okay? She's having a mental breakdown over this. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. Y'all do your thing. Play in traffic all you want in front of these Republicans, acting a fool in front of these people instead of privately declaring your stuff. But don't text me no more because I'm not taking no more of these texts.
Now listen to this individual. I really do believe that these people don't listen to themselves before they post these videos, right? You really should listen to yourself before you post a video because again, you know, if you actually listen to yourself, you will understand that, hey, maybe I shouldn't post this video. Joy Reid is a journalist, okay? A journalist, okay, on MSNBC, openly stating that, hey, well, you know, I'm not comfortable with Democrats playing in traffic to help Republicans, right? I'm not comfortable with the media being concerned about what is the most important story of 2024, right? This is a major news story. You would think that Joy Reid would be able to put aside her partisanship and to have some integrity and say, you know what, I might not like it. It might hurt Joe Biden and Democrats, but that's not my job, right? My job is not to be a cheerleader for the Democrat Party when I'm calling myself a so-called journalist. My job is to cover the stories that the American people find to be important. And right now, again, this is the most important story in this country, right? It just is. So, I just find this to be hilarious how Joy Reid really doesn't like the coverage of what is happening to Joe Biden because it helps the Republicans.
Just let me know when you guys are finished figuring it out, Democrats, because I know y'all the freak out people. Go ahead and freak out, have your conversation, and then let me know who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House.
Again, hilarious. These people do not listen to themselves. Well, I know that you guys are the freak out people, while at the same time, she's freaking out about Hitler being put back in the White House, which again is a total exaggeration, right? Trump is not Hitler. But again, this is what she's putting out there for stupid people, right? People who don't critically think, like Van Lathan, right? Like a Charlemagne the God who is going to buy into this type of nonsense that, well, we got to go out here and vote for a vegetable because Trump bad, Trump evil, right? Which again, it's just hilarious because if you're paying attention, if you're the average American citizen, you know what happened under Trump. You know what we got with the first Trump administration. None of these things happened. But yeah, these people are swearing up and down like they did in 2015, 2016, before Trump was in office, that, hey, the world is going to end if Trump is elected. Please don't fall for this nonsense. This is just desperation, guys. This is just desperation. This is all this is, okay? Joy Reid is already telling you I'm playing for a team, right? There's nothing objective coming out of my mouth right now.
That's it. I'm done. Oh, and by the way, if it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma. I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policy, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. Hitler, White House. We keeping him out. Keeping Project 2025 out. That's all I care about. Up and down the ballot, from the rooter to the tutor. School board, all the way up to White House and everything in between. Governors, members of Congress. I'm just going to vote all the way down to keep these people out. The Project 2025 thing is the whole Republican Party. At this point, it's not about Biden. It is not about him. It's above me now. There's a Best Western next door. It is about keeping Donald Trump and his Project 2025 friends out of power. That's it for me, y'all. Y'all let me know what you think. And another thing. I've always got another thing. You guys do know that in 2020, y'all Democrats had choices of young people. You had a young LGBTQ guy, Mayor Pete. You had a Latino. You had Kamala Harris. You had Liz Warren. You had all these choices that were all younger than Biden, fresher and newer than Biden. And you know who y'all picked to be the president and the nominee? Joe Biden. He beat all the young people. So yes, we have a gerontocracy problem on the Democratic side. Way too many of these oldie goldies that don't seem to want to sit down and retire. But when given the choice between the young and fresh and Joe Biden, y'all picked Joe Biden. That was what you picked. So he's in there because Democrats actually picked him in the first place. So just keep that in mind, that you've been given options in the past, and this is what you picked. And nobody stepped up to choose to run against him in the primary. So once again, Democrats went out and voted and picked. If you try to undo that choice, like 57 million some odd Democrats voted in these primaries, so what are you going to do? You're going to just tell them, F off, we're going to pick somebody different that's not him, or Kamala Harris, who was on that ticket too, on those ballots? That's not democracy. This choice has been made.
Wow. A little bit of truth here from Joy Reid, right? Which is why I find this video to be fascinating, because Joy Reid is basically saying that, listen, if Democrats actually are successful at this coup that they want to do against Biden, they're not going to be able to come out here and talk about democracy, okay? Because that would be very anti-democratic, right? And I think she understands the reality of what's going on here, that they're basically stuck with Joe Biden. It's either going to be Joe Biden or it's going to be Kamala. All this talk about Gavin Newsom, Gretchen Whitmer, Raphael Warnock, Josh Shapiro, all these Democrats that, again, most of America have never heard of, by the way. Again, that's just silly talk, okay? They're not replacing Joe Biden with any of those people. It's just not enough time. They don't have enough time to actually make the race competitive if they replace Joe Biden with anybody that's not Kamala Harris, right? And again, Joy Reid is acknowledging this, that, at the end of the day, we can't come out here and talk about democracy while at the same time plotting to overthrow democracy within our own party. But, hey, I think what Joy Reid is missing here is that Democrats have already done that within their own party. This is why they're so comfortable with this conversation of just pulling Joe Biden out and replacing them with anybody that they want to replace him with, because at the end of the day, this is what they've been doing the whole time. In 2016, they essentially rigged the primary against Bernie. in order to favor Hillary Clinton. In 2020, they rigged the primary against Bernie in order to favor Joe Biden. In 2024, they basically didn't have a primary. Okay, they were quite literally keeping people off the ballot that were challenging Joe Biden. Okay, they had no debates. They tried to pretend like the primary didn't exist. It wasn't a thing. So, I mean, listen, I'm not surprised that Democrats want to stage a coup in their own party because they do this all the time. And then they'll turn around and tell you, hey, vote for us to save democracy, right? Which is hilarious. Anybody coming out here and talking about how you must vote for Democrats to save democracy or to preserve democracy is clearly an NPC, right? Clearly they're ignorant or they're propagandists, right? Like a vast majority of these mainstream liberal media news anchors.
And so again, unless he decides to walk away, this is your choice. It's like when you go to a wedding, you got chicken or fish. You can eat chicken or fish or just be hungry. Or like when I was growing up in my house, it's what mom made for dinner or go to bed. It's your choices. You don't always get choices that you love. You get what mom made for dinner or take your ass to bed. And in this case, it's either what mom made for dinner or Hitler. I'm voting for whoever ain't Hitler, and it ain't him. And I'm going all the way down that ballot, rooted to the Tudor school board up to the White House. This is about power and about picking not Hitler. That's it. That's it. That's me. Okay, now I'm really done. Bye.
Boom. Boom. This is about power. She just admitted the quiet part out loud, folks. This is what I try to tell you guys about these people that come out here and talk about voting for Democrats to preserve democracy. What democracy actually really means is Democrat power and control. She just told you. Hey, if it's between Trump, who she claims is Hitler, which, again, is just an exaggeration. She's just pulling that out of her ass, okay? If it's between him and Joe Biden in a coma, again, Joe Biden, a vegetable, then, hey, I'm going to go with Joe Biden in a coma because it's all about power and control, right? It's not really about any of the other things these people really claim, right? It's just about power and control. She's telling you out loud what it is, okay? It's just so funny. The Democrats are panicked so much. Mainstream liberal media, they're panicked so much into telling the truth, right? Into coming out and saying the quiet part out loud, okay? We just want power and control, okay? We don't care about all this other stuff that y'all talking about. We just want power and control, okay? So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.